as I was saying, I'm glad that Carrie's sanctuary was working out so well, but in the Vancouver region, there is a reptile sanctuary that is taking in, iguanas and snakes that have grown too big for normal households or too big to be safe. And these people, I mean, this is a social service, basically. Social service, because it's a social problem. But the government doesn't pay them. The government just dumps animals onto her property, put them in cages, and she has to find the funding to do that. I don't know whether you have to live with the same thing. Yeah. I mean, in all justice and reason, these people should be paid by the government because they're performing a social service. So we need to campaign the government to revamp it to take care of people like Carrie. Otherwise, one day she may go broke as well. And what's going to happen to those monkeys? Through my tours, I have conducted 6 long tours through the United States by road, and I've been to over 45 states, and I've visited almost every single tiger sanctuary. And let me tell you, those tigers don't have a life. Those tigers, as far as a tiger, if you look at the situation from the viewpoint of a tiger, they can't tell the difference between a tiger sanctuary and a zoo. In fact, I have seen so many tiger sanctuaries that are so poorly funded that their conditions are appalling compared to zoos. So it is not a sanctuary at all, it's just some place that it is the last way station for these tigers. No place to go. And they cannot be rehabilitated into a wild. Birds, for example, if you have exotic birds in your possession, and these birds are bred from captivity or captured from the wild, I mean, if you're a bird, you wouldn't want it because you have no freedom of flight and flying to. And I learned that last night in a kind of a wine party in somebody's room, and one of the people said this, captive birds cannot experience the highest experience, and that is to fly. So that is a sad thing. If you have people who love animals, and I would grant them that those people who own exotic pets love animals. But if you allow this kind of thing to happen, what you're doing is that you're sapping the animal rights and animal welfare movement of financial and emotional energy. These people channel their love into their exotic pets, and then they would have no energy left financially or emotionally to take care of the wild animals in the wild and protect the habitat. So, everything is kind of interlinked somehow. And of course there's a danger factor that Carrie has already pointed out. There are a couple of positive, if you can call it that, aspects of this. And number one is, for example, the world's due to global warming, a lot of the world's natural habitats are going to be gone, including even the Amazon. The Amazon, I have studied global warming for about 2 years now, and the Amazon is destined within as little as 1 century to become a savanna and eventually become a desert. And the Amazon contains 1/3 of the world's species, which is, if the world's total number of species is 20 million, the Amazon contains 7 million species. And we are, due to global warming, driving 7 million species to extinction from the Amazon alone. And the Amazon contains a lot of native species that have some exotic animals, members in here. So if I really stretch the truth, I would say that there might be a benefit that if the Amazon is completely wiped out, then maybe these few specimens here may be the last bastion of preservation of the species, and we have a sacred duty to preserve them. We have no right to drive any species to extinction, even mosquitoes. And breeding facilities, I would grant that breeding facilities of already endangered species is justified to preserve the genetic integrity. And it is the lesser of many evils, I guess. And last thing is, that's about it, last ditch is what these animals could be good for. But other than that, I've given you all sorts of reasons to oppose it. And I hope that you think about this and generate some action to correct the situation. Thank you very much. Anybody with any questions, please go to the mic because it will be taped. Please state your name and state your questions succinctly. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Heather. My nephew, who is a vegan, he loves exotic animals. He's actually going to go to vet school this fall to study that. But he's had these tortoises that he got